My name is Ruzbeh Bharucha and welcome to the series of A Slice of Life. Today my father and I are going to be discussing certain issues that most children, adults and teenagers face. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. One of my parents is suffering from domestic violence and I get scared. I don't know whether to try and protect my other parent or then just let them be.
That's a pretty tricky question. Okay. Domestic violence is not done. There is no justification for it. But it is part of life. It is a myth that domestic violence is only done by men.
It is completely wrong.
Okay, so even women indulge in that. As a child, what you need to do is obviously stand up for your parent. You cannot turn a blind eye to something which is wrong.
Yes, but one thing that is very important when you see a parent, suffering from it, don't start fighting with the opposite parent. You try and defend for them. You try and protect them, but you don't start throwing or implementing the opposite one.
Yeah. You mean you don't start getting physical.
Correct.
Yeah. That's obvious. You cannot lose your dignity in anything.
No, many times you get so hyper that starts.
I know you get hyper, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Your job is not to put more fuel in the fire. Your job is to contain the fire. Your job is to pacify the aggressive parent to become calm and to protect the submissive parent from getting further violated. Many times physical aggression comes about once in a while. It's not a regular feature. But there are families where physical violence is virtually a daily occurrence. And that is the time eventually the parent who is getting abused will have to take stock of the situation, that do they want to give this environment to their children.
I have a question. Sometimes the parent who is suffering through this, they are very kind, so they don't want that, they are actually normal, so they don't want their child to see what's going on, right? They can't take certain steps that will, maybe disintegrate the family or whatever. So they lock the room door and put tissue paper in the keyhole.
Yes, I understand all that, but eventually physical violence cannot be hidden for too long. It cannot be hidden for too long. One parent might be able to protect the child or children for a particular time, but not constantly. You're going to see bruises. You're going to hear the sound. And as the child grows up, it is going to become more and more difficult to hide the fact that this marriage is physically abusive. Then it becomes the responsibility of the parent to protect the child from such an environment, because what is happening is every time the child comes to protect the parent, the child is also getting psychologically affected. Right or wrong?
Right.
So, on one hand, the child is protecting the parent, but what about the parent's role in protecting the child from being further and further psychologically affected? So, it's a two-way street. It's not only the responsibility of the child, it's also the responsibility of the parent who's getting abused. That more I am allowing myself to be abused and more my child is intervening in this, my child is getting psychologically very badly affected. So, coming back to your question, yes, I think the child should stand up for the parent. I don't think the child should say it's not my business, it's between my parents. No, it is your business. You know, this is your parent. You need to stand up for your parent. But the parent also needs to stand up for the child. Okay, sweetheart? Okay. Jai Baba.